So you know the drill by now. This is the second last, or maybe the last, I don't know. Maybe I'll upload them in a weird order. Video of the battles I had just saved up while I was working on other things. The teams at the end again. There's calcs in this one because I discover something cool. I mean, cool is subjective. I think it's cool. But yeah, here we go. Okay, so this one starts a bit late. I saw a Flapple and I got excited, but I'd already locked in my team. So I don't really remember what I brought. I know I lead Dragapult because this is, lead Dragapult the series. Yeah, where if you don't know what to do, you just lead Dragapult. But also, it's pretty nice into this matchup. And Cloyster, which is my other go-to lead, wasn't great. They lead Weavile, and I don't want to Terra here because I figure, it's not going to get rid of my Ice Shard weakness. So I just go for the U-turn, and I figure if they're Sash, I can maybe get Garganacl set up a bit, and if they're not, I get to, knock out the Weavile. Based off the damage, they're 100% banded. Like, I don't think they can do that much without a choice band. Bring Garganacl in anyways, hoping for the best. Because if they've, say they've got the Flapple and something else, maybe like the Ceruledge, I can Terra versus the Flapple, so I'm not weak to grass anymore. Just set up iron defenses and just become a nuisance. Unfortunately for me, they have Magnezone because, why wouldn't you? When you see a Garganacl. I can't really afford to stay in because this thing counters me both in and out with Terra. My Terra's flying, so I can't really dodge it. Amoonguss has to come in and take the hit. So I guess, that was a free I brought. They revealed Terra Ground, which to me I thought was really weird. I don't know if that's a thing. I would always expect Terra Terra Flying to dodge the crippling, ground weakness, or even Terra Grass maybe to dodge it slightly less well. Because of my berry, it means I'm not too hit KO'd, luckily. So I go off for a Spore here. My game plan is, I say my game plan. I only have one way through this Magnezone, and that is Dragapult. So I have to Spore it, and I have to use the mandatory Sleep turn to get Dragapult in. Because otherwise, I'm just going to get swept by it. So Dragapult comes in. Basically, they cannot wake up this turn, right? So my hope is, I'm going to Terra. I'm gonna go for Dragon Darts, and I need to hope that they stay asleep, because otherwise, I'm gonna die, right? I also wasn't certain Amoonguss would survive after the Regenerator, just because the first Flash Cannon did loads. I don't know if that specs damage or not. I haven't calced it, mostly because I don't think I've looked at the Amoonguss spread properly. So I go for darts. I don't knock out. I do just less than half with the first hit, which means I would need a crit basically with a second hit to knock them out. Magnezone unfortunately gets a first turn wake, and Dragapult has to say goodbye. So he explodes, and off he goes. So I have to go into Amoonguss now, and I have to hope that I live. Oh, yeah, basically, yeah. Because Garganacl there is no way that it's surviving Flash Cannon. Even though I think I'm max per death. Okay, maybe there is a way I survive Flash Cannon. I'm not entirely sure. But I contemplate going for the Spore, but I figure that's just wasting time. So I just go for the knockout. Luckily I survive. And Magnezone does not. Yeah. Unfortunately, Stomping Tantrum was the best move I had to hit it with, because it resists Clear Smog now that it's a ground type, and doesn't really have a great attack stat. So I was actually genuinely worried I wasn't going to knock out. Worst case scenario for me, they reveal Ceruledge. Although I do think there's a possibility I can win this. I go for the Spore. No, I think I foul play there in case they try and set up and get fancy. I don't know, they must have high rolled me there because I don't understand how Amoonguss wouldn't survive that. But you know, now we're in a 1v1. At this point in time, I didn't know Cerulege learned close combat. That's a spoiler, by the way. So I'm just sort of like, I don't know what this thing's going to hit me with. I'm going to set up iron defenses so that I can keep up with or get on top of their boosts. Because I'm like, there's no way this thing isn't sword stance, right? Because I think that's how it's ran in 3v3. I think it's focus sash, weak armor, sword stance, and then Bitter Blade, Shadow Sneak, and I have come to learn close combat. So I keep going for the boosts because I'm like, surely my best chance of this is for us to both be at +6 so that I take whatever move they've got to hit me. I'm gonna show some calcs in this video because I learned something that's actually really important and really valuable. Not through this game, but through, so I ended up in this exact same end game later on. And I learned something completely by accident it's actually huge, right? So close combat, as you can see there, does way too much. And that's both of us being at +6. I get a lucky crit with the Salt Cure, but not lucky enough that it puts it in range of the salt damage. Anyways, gone off track because I'm describing the game, but you can see it. Like it's over now, right? Like they close combat me and I die because I don't get any priority. But yeah, anyways, what I learned was the best way to win this end game, should you find yourself in it, by the way, is to go for iron defense once and then go for salt cure. Because they're weak armor, they will always die to 2 plus the residual damage. But something really interesting, and just I guess the way the numbers work out, if they are +2 and you have no boosts, they always knock out with close combat. But if they are +4 and you are +2, you always survive. Like guaranteed, it does 99.5% max. So the idea is you iron defense as they SD, and then they'll SD again, you salt cure that turn. And then they'll be 2-hit KO'd because then they're forced to respond, right? And yeah, that means that like they'll, you know, drop their defense or whatever, and then you'll drop it again, but you'll always live. Which means well, obviously you can get crit, but it always means you get off 2 attacks and they only get off 1 in that scenario. And like I said, like that end game came up once, like later on, and I was like, I set up the iron defense, but originally I was just gonna go like, oh, I'll just salt cure right away. I wonder if I survive. But I misclicked and clicked iron defense, and then the next turn I just went for it. So I was like, oh, it'll be the same, but it's not the same. So, you know, use that to your advantage, I guess. Because it's pretty significant, I think. Anyways, here's the team. Enjoy.